everybody. Welcome back to the Rewind here on Wayward World Studios. I'm Thumali. That's Thumal. I am your host. And today is another lovely segment that I like to call People Who Applied to be Guests on the Show, which always makes me very happy that people are very interested in being on the show. She is a Seattle burlesque artist, known as the irreverent rejuvenator, the damsel in demand, first generation Afro Caribbean burlesque performer in Seattle. Please welcome Jue Vé, the Flame. How are you doing, Jue Vé?
I am good. Thanks for having
Okay.
me on the show.
Now, do you feel like I covered everything? Because you're also a published model, author, artist, curator. I just have your whole thing up here.
I think you have everything. You
Okay. Well, how are you doing today?
uh can I be real for a second?
Sure.
Uh, you know, I am doing much better. Yesterday I had an emotional day.
Mhm.
Um, and so I was just sitting with my feelings, being with loved ones who can, I guess, corral me in. And, when it rains, it pours, but at least I have that. So that's
Yeah, that's the most important thing when it comes to like queer people and like just having like a community of people just being there for you and
yeah.
like being supportive, especially during those like hard and emotional times. I'm sure like that's not the first one that has ever happened, and it's probably not going to be the last one either. But I'm glad today that you're feeling your best, at least the best you can.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But besides that, like, how's the rest of your day been going on?
Um, it's been pretty good. Right now it's raining here, so it's a little gray and murky, but rolling with it, doing the best we can. It's lovely.
Yeah, it was raining, I think yesterday in Spokane, Washington. Right now it's a little sunny, which is really nice. But the one thing I hate about it being sunny is that people are outside, and I'm just like, here's the thing, like people being outside, that's fine and everything, but when you're recording a podcast and you're trying to like have some air in here and you're hearing the neighborhood kids talking, you're just like, just shut the fuck up.
Like people are working over here.
Exactly, especially on a Saturday. Well, thank you so much for applying. How did you hear about the application?
I think it was just I was doom scrolling for a bit one point in time, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I saw one of your ads for a podcast. And I was like, I have always wanted to be a podcast. Why not just see what this one's about? So I went through your profile a little bit. I saw that you too did an interview with Bold Journey, and
Mm,
so I stalked you on that just a little bit, just read that, and
uh,
I felt that we had some things in common. And I was like, you know what, I want to join this person on their podcast and see what this is like. And it's been good just engaging with you so far about possible shows and things like that. So
mm.
yeah, that's how we are.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you saw my profile and you weren't like, who is this beautiful woman? Like doing like advertising a guest to be on her show. Like, God damn.
Really, it was you in like full face. I was like, yes, yes,
Okay. Yeah. Well,
everything this person's telling. Yeah.
let's get into it because, like, speaking of Bold Journey, which I've also been a guest on the show, as you mentioned, I
Mhm.
was actually just reading yours right now, and I think this would be a good opportunity to talk about you for a
Okay.
second. I love the way that you talked about your brand being an alchemy of my past into a more delectable version of the storyline, which I thought was like, wow, this person like really has a sense of their self. And I want to
Mm.
kind of get into you and who is Juve the Flame?
Ooh, wow. Juve the Flame is a more exaggerated version of my everyday, non-glamorous, non-glitter life, Elle. And Juve gets to house all of the identities and facets of me that I may not have had space or safety or the audacity at the time to share. And so when I say that I am alchemizing my past, I've had a lot of instances where I wasn't able to be myself, or I didn't feel comfortable, or when I did finally share myself, I wasn't received. And so now I have been rewriting my story so that Juve gets to be the most glorious parts of me, while giving me space to reintegrate into all of the people and the places and the things I have been in the past. So it's like this therapeutic persona hat that I wear that's me and a half. And I just feel safe operating in the world as a performer, entertainer, and um, yeah, as just a human who needs a little bit more room to exercise their will and their abilities. Juve gives me that power.
I love that. I love art as a way to like express yourself in a way that you couldn't have in the past. Like that sounds exactly, if you listen to any of these episodes of the show, like that's kind of been my journey when it comes to like art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How different is Juve from you, like outside of your like everyday life? Because you said you're not like your unglamorous life, and you look gorgeous, by the way. Like,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, don't say you're not glamorous in your normal everyday life. But like I'm sure you can expound on like how different Juve is from your normal life.
So Juve gives a lot less fucks.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can say that.
Oh yeah, you can. I just said
Oh,
fuck earlier.
um, Juve gives a lot less fucks. She is fiery. She is like this hot little thing, and she's just like all of the energy that I would like to put somewhere, that if I did put somewhere, I'm not going to go, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. So
Mhm.
bad. Juve's like, yep, I did that. So what are we going to do about this now that we're here? And yeah, it's just very unapologetic.
I love that. Have you, and was it always going to be like through burlesque? Like, because you do other things as well, modeling
Yeah,
and stuff like that. But I think burlesque sounds like it's your main bread and butter.
it is. It is. Not just through burlesque, but also in, I guess, art modeling.
Hmm.
Um, I guess healing a lot of things with like being nude or scantily clad, which Juve houses. Um, and that persona, I've gotten to share my vulnerability with artists, with photographers, with like people I'm collaborating with for different reasons creatively. And I think before I was raised really religious.
Mm.
So this idea of purity and wholesomeness was like really impressed on me. And when I get to step into being Juve, I get to strip out of that and be like, well, this is my body. This is what I'm doing it with it right now. This is how I feel safe and seen. And this is what I need. And this is what I'm giving. And yeah, it houses all of those things for me.
Yeah, you touched on the super religious part of your life, especially as a first generation Caribbean American. You know, like I'm sure that was like very much impressed upon. Speaking as an Arab and like born into like Islam and stuff like that, like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I do my art, whether it was like I was a theater artist at one point,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm into like the podcast drag and a little bit of the adult entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
Just this smidge, but yeah, that like there was always like this aspect of purity and
Mm-hmm.
oh, you can't show off your body, especially like with men. Like it's not so much with men, but more so with women.
Mm-hmm.
Cis straight women in Saudi Arabia, they have to cover head to toe essentially. But with men, it was always like, oh, you can't show your knees because like that's part like up to your knees. You can't like show any part of your body that way because but breaking that stigma has always been kind of a challenge to
Yeah.
do. And I feel like I'm in a place now, especially with like creating Thumali as like she's been born anew. Like she hasn't been like she's hasn't existed very long in this universe, but
Hmm.
Thumali has always been a part of me, specifically because Thumali is my last name. So
Mm.
it's always been there. Do you agree with like has it been like pretty much difficult to like navigate that?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of ideals impressed upon me when I was very young. I have been providing caregiver roles and traits since I was also very young for other people. Um, so I didn't get an opportunity to express myself sensually or um, explore queerness until recently in a continuous way. Um, yeah, I've had a lot of like interruptions into my life, and it's been really hard navigating this space or like what I want to do with my adult life that I don't have to go to a church or I'm not expected to sing somewhere at a choir for a church or um like I've just reclaimed my time, reclaimed my gifts and decided to share one that no one has ever really expected from me, which is dance or movement.
Mhm.
Um, and it's been it's been like a story of reclamation and just calling back to myself. So yeah.
Yeah. What radicalized you? Like what was the thing that was like, okay, like what started to break the mold?
Okay. So um I feel like the good girl trope has always been impressed on me.
Hmm.
Um, and so there was like this one year I was dating this guy that we were together, then we broke up, and then we got back together, and it seemed really awesome. But I think he was having issues figuring out what he wanted out of his life. And seeing me go after what I wanted professionally, that probably made him feel a little insecure or maybe a little jealous.
Hmm.
And so when we met, I had got into this field. I got into the social work field and I was working as a professional. And when we broke up, I had left that field and I was working as an entrepreneur for myself. And so that was one of his dreams. And when I came home to, I guess, finish up some certifications and to have like a home base for my business, he said to me, and I'll never forget these words, I hope you find a daddy to teach you how to be a woman. And I was like,
What?
the fuck, sir?
Oh, that's crazy.
Extremely. So I was like, you know what? You're hurt. You probably don't know how to say any of the things that you're feeling. So you're going to hurt me instead. And I'm going to break up with you because you're saying some dumb stuff. So every now and then, when I am like performing and I'm just like, I'm really feeling it, I'm going to like, wow, just take my bra off in this way that's so dramatic. I think, thank you, Tony, for that fucked up ass remark that you made. And I do the thing and then attitude and walk off. And I feel so much better.
Oh
So,
wow. Yeah.
yeah,
It's always a man that
it's
always like
always a man.
exactly. Like that was so crazy that he just like said that. I feel like, but like joking aside, like I feel like a lot of men are just like so insecure of like a strong woman, you
Hmm.
know? And like, especially as someone like you who has like, like I'm not saying that you know everything about yourself or you have this like entirely strong grasp, but just getting into like some of the research here, like you have like such a very strong grasp of not just what you want to do as an artist, but like I feel like as a person, you have like a good idea of like what you want, and that intimidates other people.
Wow. You know, I didn't even think about that until recently.
Hmm.
Um, I think everyone has like an energetic signature in the way that they move through the world. And for a very long time, I feel like me personally, I was operating at one that was not my optimal level. Like it works, but it's not consistent, it's not sustainable. And that was like being a caregiver. But when I just put myself first, oh, Molly, let me tell
Mhm.
you how people started losing their shit. It
Exactly.
it
Hmm.
was wild. Like I started setting boundaries into my time, the way I show up for others that I used to previously give unmeasured amounts of care and love and affection to. And when I started to like curt some of those things back, people were viciously upset with me. And even though that was lonely, it was very isolating and I experienced some like harm from it. I know that I think since becoming Jue Vé Jones was the first time I'd really gotten to process just me, what I'm doing, what's going on in my life, how I'm showing up. And that was addicting after
Hmm.
that. So I was like, yeah, this is where we are forever.
Yeah. No, that's how I felt like coming into the States because I was born in Seattle, but like I was raised in Saudi Arabia. So
Okay.
my dad's Saudi, mom's from Spokane. So I currently live with her right now, but
Okay.
I'm moving soon to
Okay. Yeah.
Seattle. So we're getting back.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know, I just kind of had that feeling too. There's just a lot of responsibility when you're like the oldest son in an Arabic family, and like I felt like I had to put the needs of others in front of me, like what my dad
Mm-hmm.
liked, what my faith wanted, and stuff like that. It wasn't until I like moved here and got to explore the queer community a little bit more. Because like even when I was like 16, in Saudi Arabia, I came out as bisexual at
Mm-hmm.
first, and even then, like I didn't fully accept it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
mostly accepted the fact that like okay, I have this like attraction to the same sex as me, but I'm not going to pursue this further. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's just get it out of the way. Yes, I might like guys, but we're not going to pursue this. But then
Mm-hmm.
when I came to the States and like explored that a little bit more, I got to hear more like queer stories, stories from different perspectives and stuff like that. Like it's just it opened my mind in a way that I couldn't go back to being the
Mm-hmm.
person that I was before. Like I consider myself like the person I was when I was living in Saudi Arabia versus 2025, like Sid Al Thamali,
Mm-hmm.
um, like right now is they're two completely different people.
Yes. And you know what? It's a pleasure to witness you as you are becoming, as you feel comfortable and safest to express, because it takes a lot of courage to be that way, and a lot of tools, a lot of practice. And it's not easy. It's not easy. So thank you for sharing your wonderful, amazing self with us and
Oh
all of
yeah.
your expressions of art.
Oh yeah. No, thank you for also sharing. But like this is also your episode, so we're gonna get into you a little bit more. Um, I want to talk about your art
Okay.
soon, but there is one thing on your application that was really interesting.
Ooh.
Because and you mentioned it like in this interview too, like being a caregiver. Um, like as much as you're comfortable talking about, like what did that entail specifically?
So I hmm, I was the person who just instinctually knew how to make someone feel special in my family. Um, I often mention a lot that I'm Afro Caribbean, which is a slight distinction from being African American. Not for the separation of being from the diaspora, but the fact that like African Americans who experience enslavement in the US, there, from what I have seen, the enslavement is a lot of things, but it's primarily physical and societal. Uh, Whereas people of the African diaspora who experience different levels of, I'm still looking for a term to describe it, but disenfranchisement in the Caribbean, their enslavement is so different. It's mental and emotional, and just having the the parents that I have, they often mention so many instances of abuse or violence in a very casual way, as if this is commonplace. But I was very sensitive as a child. I I would often think about people that I saw, just for example, like on the street, if I saw someone limping or using a cane, like I would begin to cry because I would sense their disparity. And so, being that my family was constantly dealing with that, there was a lot of different things like in my family. I would just turn and be that person to be like, it's okay, like things will get better. I learned how to make you soup. So here's soup because you're not feeling well right now. And I will do this so you can get back to taking care of me because you're my parent or you're someone who's older than me or you have a higher role in this family or in this life than me. But because I care for you, I want you to be better so that you can get back to doing the thing. And it kind of didn't become what I thought it would be in just like a learning how to provide a skill so that you can care for the loved ones. It became a way of people in my family, especially, and in relationships outside of my family, where people saw that and were like, oh, they can do that. I can do
Mm.
that all day. Yeah, that'll be no problem. She's not doing anything at all. What does she have to talk about? She's a child or she's a this. And so, like, I ended up assuming a lot of care emotionally or mentally or sometimes physically. Um, or I'd be in situations with my parents and they would just say something that you would not say to a child and expect that child to hold the space for you or
Mm.
for that situation. Um, and so that opened my eyes to like a lot of needs that we had in our family, a lot of issues that we had in our family, and a lot of lack. And so when I started to get older, I sought out ways to, I guess, boost my skills, my natural skills and qualities. And it was exciting for some time learning about the language that I could use, learning about tools and skills that I could use to help people feel better and seen and accommodate them in their very sensitive places. But it led me to a lot of burnout.
Mm.
It was not what I was meant to do. Um, and I also saw that it was not fair to me as a younger person, as a very vulnerable, sensitive person myself. I didn't get to experience life just for me. It was always at the request or the behest of someone else. Like, this would make you feel better if you wouldn't you be happier if you just did this? Or instead of going off to a college somewhere away,
Mhm.
conversations were really, really divided to say, well, you can go wherever you want, but my money, which the money didn't go, would be going here. And that was inaccurate. So I was pigeonholed into sliding myself for people, and that did not serve me. So I fell and assumed this role of good girl, and I was always where everyone else wanted me, except for where I wanted to be myself. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have one thing I would like to add to that. Do you think like with your art journey, is that a way for you to be your own caregiver and like caring for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I think I forgot to mention this, but I manifested like all of the feelings I was feeling, everything I was experiencing manifested into an autoimmune disease. And it was when I began to meet my own mortality that I was like, wait, I'm so young.
Mm.
I've never got to do this. I've never got to do that. I've always thought of myself as queer, but I haven't really gotten to safely experience what that term means for me. And I removed myself from everyone and everything respectfully that didn't allow room for me to grow as a person without them or without their influence. And when I did find art, or like the creative life that I have now, I found that it heals me in a way. Like I'm not so inflamed or um, I feel confident to say what my needs are and trust that if someone is unequipped to handle it, that's fine. I
Mhm.
can go somewhere else or I can meet my own need until community arrives. And lately, community has been arriving. So
Mhm.
it's art has been being more creative has been not only a long time dream of mine, but it's been one of my greatest tools to like heal and alchemize the things I'm experiencing and also develop myself. So it's been a great place.
Yeah, and especially the career that you chose, like coming from like the strict like religious background into like being someone that's like scantily clad or like in other cases like nude, like that must have been that like I don't know, for me whenever I do drag and stuff like that and I look at myself and I look how like oh, I look so fierce and I'm just like
Yes.
this little boy like couldn't imagine like if I met my younger self and they saw me in this dress and all this makeup and stuff like that, like I don't even think he would recognize the person right in front of him right now.
Oh yeah. Easily, easily. This was not on my bingo card for my life,
Hmm.
but I'm glad. I'm
Yeah.
glad.
What was
Yeah.
the path like if the burlesque or art didn't like fall into your lap? Like what was your career path?
Uh, I had always wanted to be a pediatrician.
Okay.
I was going to be a pediatrician. Um, I was going to, in my mind, I would have been 25, married, working towards selecting the hospital that I would go through to do my residency, and then eventually pursue pediatrics. And at some point in time, I would be like Bonnie from Family Guy and forever be pregnant with 2.5 kids.
Oh,
So I'd be like perpetually just pregnant, never delivering. And that was like literally my dream.
wow.
But none of that happened.
Mm,
So I've been bumbling around or bumping into different things and finding little parts of myself in different places. And lately, I'm just bringing it all together so
mhm.
I don't leave any of me behind because it's all me.
Yeah, it's interesting that it was pediatrician talking about being a caregiver and stuff like that. Like another profession that's like about caring about people.
Yeah, but very vulnerable people. Like,
Like the most vulnerable, like kids.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
let's get into your art. How did you come across burlesque? Like, what was your first experience like being introduced to that art and like modeling and all that? Like, what was your first experience? Like, talk about all of it.
my first experience into, I call it like the sexy things.
Hmm.
Um, so even though like purity and all of these like religious ideals were like really impressed on me, I have always been a sex positive person. And I just had a need for like intimacy and connection from a very young teenage age. So a couple years ago, I think I was still living in North Carolina. I was on the apps, I was on Tinder, and I matched with this person who began just talking about my feet in the pictures I'd shared. And so I was like, "Do you like feet?" He was like, "I love feet." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." And we went on a date eventually. He expressed interest in me modeling for him and creating content with him. And so I was like, sure. That was like maybe the first real like instance into like sharing myself sensually or sexually with another person. And then sometime after that, a person I was dating wanted to try BDSM. They thought that they were dominant. They were not dominant. They're just aggressive. There's a
Mhm.
difference.
Oh yeah.
And even though they weren't able to really be present there, I was like, this is nice. I like this. I was doing research on it. I was I was joining Reddit chats. Like I was into the things. And so with these like small examples of what I could find that were pleasurable for me, um, I just kind of put it in my back pocket and went through life doing the things until I was at a burlesque show for my birthday a couple years back. And I think that was the first time I felt glimmers, like full body tinglies all over me. And I just saw myself on the stage. And so, sure enough, I partnered with this local burlesque basic school here in Seattle. And that really opened my world up to so many things. I enjoyed like savoring a moment on stage. And I also enjoyed like just bearing my body. Like that was the first time that I never got to be very, very not clothed. And the freedom was so intoxicating.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it
here we are
started.
today.
Yeah, it started with feet on Tinder, and
It
now.
started with feet.
Well, that's so cool. I don't see too many burlesque shows. I usually go to drag, but like a lot of drag, there are some performers that do burlesque. I'm
Mhm.
sure you're familiar with like Moscato Sky,
Oh yeah,
uh, beautiful,
love
amazing,
her. Mwah.
um, Bosco.
Yes.
Like just a couple of oh, and Willow, Pussy Willow, the ass of Seattle.
Yes.
I love her
My
so
God.
much. But
So darling.
I've learned recently through Ruby Mimosa that um burlesque, like it's so like sensual, but like also so campy and theatrical in a way
Yeah.
that um I never really thought of before. Like I guess like I had the stereotypical thought that burlesque was like sexy stripping, like sexy, like just a little bit more like of a stripper, but like sexier, like more professional, I guess. You're not in a seedy club or anything like that, but I think I have a more broader understanding of that.
Okay.
How when you do your performances, like what do you look for when you're trying to entertain a crowd as far as your burlesque? Like what is Juve's style?
Um, I would
Like
say Juve's style right now is I think I'm finding myself more as I develop my style. When I first started performing burlesque, it was um like very powerful music that I would just like be naked to. But then I entered a competition and I was super close to winning. This was back in New Orleans, Burley Picks. And I was just thinking about the way I was presenting and the way I felt about my music. And I just thought, you know what? I can do more here. I can do more here and I can make this accessible for me. I think at the time I was chasing this idea of burlesque being classical and very polished and glam. And I was like, I'm a little raunchy, like I might drop some mustard on my shirt and then lick that. So like I should bring that to burlesque, like the all of the duality that I possess. So I'd say now it is sensual, not for the fact that like I'm sharing my body, but I'm feeling my body and I'm allowing you to witness it with me as I take a deep breath and I just flow with a moment or with a beat or something. Um, yeah, it's I'm learning it's as much trust as it is audacity. And every day I strive to be the most audacious version of myself when I am introduced on stage.
I love that, especially like the trusting part. Like there's a lot of trust that goes into like theater just in general, like not like trust in the audience that they're
Yeah,
going to be paying attention and kind
yeah.
of respecting the space, but also trusting yourself that,
Mhm.
especially like with you doing this for just, is it 5 years this year in 2025 or is it 5 years? Is it going on six?
Oh, no, God, not that long. Well, I guess I've been doing all of these things separately for
Mm.
about 5 years, but I've been performing burlesque just under 3 years.
Yeah, well, like just performance in general. You have 5 years of art in
Okay,
your
yeah.
belt, and like going on stage and like trusting yourself that you're not going
Yeah.
to like fuck this up, and like
Uh,
forgiving yourself when you do fuck it up, because
mhm.
it's like performance, like that's so hard to do, and that's hard to get a grasp on for a lot of people. They always get in their head.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you get in your head a lot, or like has it been pretty easy to get out of that mindset?
I think initially I used to get into my head and stay in my head. Now I recognize my moment of nervousness and I call it what it is. I'm saying that's me caring, because I am prepared. I know what I'm doing now. I know who I am and what I'm presenting and what I'm like marketing essentially. So I stick close to that, like that feeling, and just call it what it is. Like that's care. That's care for me. That's care for the amount of time I put into my costume. That's care for the amount of time and maybe some injuries that I've gotten practicing my choreography or getting insight and feedback. All of that is care. And now that it's all culminating together, just as the host is introducing me, I'm feeling like high amounts of care. And so I just sit with that and I hone it and I bring it back to me. And I said, okay, I care about me right now. I care about what I'm doing. I put a lot of time and affection into this, and this is going to be great. We're going to do some crazy ass shit. You know what? We're going to find a moment to just leave it on the floor. So let's leave it on the floor. Let's leave everything.
Yeah, exactly. You read my interview and where I talked about Anne Bogart's A
Yes.
Director Prepare. Like I always just stand by like the act of the unknown, and like having a grasp on that. Like hey, like you have like I mentioned before, you had all this experience in one hand, like your 5 years of like doing art in general. But then there's also the other side of it where you're like, is the thing that I'm gonna do gonna work? Like am I gonna fall flat on my face on stage or something like that? Like the fear of the unknown. Like you have to have that, and you have to have that like anxiety in you, because like especially like when it comes to specifically burlesque and like stripping and stuff like that, there's a sense of like you're being like you're being the utmost vulnerable like in the physical way, um that you don't know how other people are going to respond. So, but having that fear is like so important, because like it motivates you. It like
Mhm.
pushes you to um it puts something at stake. Like I have a story to tell,
Mhm.
whether it's with my body or what have you. And like um oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, you have something that you want to share with the world, and it comes from this vulnerable place, and like of
Yeah.
course you're going to be afraid, because like if you're not sharing something, if you're not sharing your art from a vulnerable place, and I'm not saying like, oh, like you have to talk about your most darkest hour. Like being vulnerable could be like a happy thing too,
Oh yeah,
like like there could be joy in like being vulnerable, but like if you're not being vulnerable, then there's no risk, and if there's no risk, like what's the point? Like
exactly.
art is all about risk.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Uh, um, I think that bringing vulnerability into whatever you do allows for you to show your full personhood. Um, and like you said before, I think it brings for a more full conversation with the audience on what it is that you're presenting, what you're giving them, what you're showing them. And even if it's not their cup of tea, someone can see your vulnerability and be like, huh, I don't think I've ever really noticed that on this body type, on this gender expression, or in a person who looks this way, or in this venue, or with this, like all of these things, like it causes people to look differently because you're showing them you're showing them like who you are at your core or who this character is at their core. And I think that is so attractive no matter what people into, it's going to make them stop and stare, and
Hmm.
it's going to leave a lasting impression.
Yeah, whether it's good or bad, people might hate it, and like, but like, there's always going to be someone that's going to enjoy what you're doing.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, so no, I absolutely agree with that. What about the name Jue Vé the Flame? Like, where does that name come from? Because it's it's French,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
so tell me about the origin of the name. And did you come up with different names like in the past?
So the name Juve, Jones is my last name. It's my legal last name. So, Juve is a Caribbean celebration that began in Trinidad and Tobago. Um, my heritage is Jamaican and Vincentian heritage, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have spent some time in Trinidad, but the idea of Juve is it began as a way for colonized Africans living in Trinidad specifically at the time to reclaim their power. So they started on Juve morning, this morning that they decided to set aside to be absolutely terrifying. I mean, face painted, tattered clothes, paint, things that clang like loud instruments and parade through the streets and terrorize the colonizers there. And so from there, it became so prominent of an activity that it spread towards the Caribbean islands. And so that really was impactful for me when I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn, New York. I lived on Eastern Parkway where the Brooklyn celebration of Juve would begin, going up this like maybe couple mile long parkway that people would walk the parade with. They'd build floats. They would have like dancers, people who are walking on stilts, who are doing things. So it was this very circusy Caribbean, um, unapologetic way of just being. And I was so drawn to that when I was younger. But because I was a religious kid, I couldn't participate in that because you name it, you think it, you name it, that's what they said about it.
Hmm.
But I saw it as this beautiful celebration. And what stood out to me was the way that everyone revered one another, the way that you can run into your long lost love on Juve morning and be jamming with them the whole time up this like parkway. And then by the end of it, you're just like, okay, so let's reconnect because it's been years and I want this, or just any kind of thing. But I see Juve as a way to connect, a way to be radical, um, a way for me to reclaim that Caribbean aspect that was so close to me because it was right outside my door as I was a kid,
Hmm.
but was kind of not within reach. So it's so many things, but that is where the name Juve comes from. Um, I also I began calling myself the flame at some point because I realized very quickly that the name Juve gave me so much space to create. It also gave me so much space to assess what I was feeling and what I had harbored with me throughout these years. And a lot of it was fire, it was anger, it was intensity, it was passion, really. And so, in a way to honor that side of me, I began calling myself Juve the Flame. And so it's like a way of like calming my own tempers within me. So now instead of being this angry person who is just full of grief for not having the life that they wanted, I get to live the life that I want and I get to temper my flames and put it to where I want it to go. So Juve the Flame could also read Juve the Passionate or whatever, but um, the flame is truly just my fire and the care that I give to the things that I desire to put my passion towards.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, I've never heard of Juve Day. Like, but learning about it through you and like what it means and the flame as well, like getting to talk to you. Um, throughout this whole conversation, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like both of those two things fit so well into like the person that you've been trying to curate, whether it was like through your art or like as a person as well. Um, that was a great name. Was it like was that like something that you thought of like in the moment, like, oh, Juve the Flame, obviously, or Juve the Passionate? Like,
Um, Juve Jones came first, and then
mhm,
I think as I started to develop um my approach towards burlesque, I realized I had a lot of little flames, like little flings of fire. So
mhm,
I decided to claim that too. And it stuck with Ruby Mimosa specifically, which I love.
mhm.
Every
Yeah.
time I perform or work with Ruby, Ruby refers to me as Juve the Flame.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh yes, yes, we are passionate, we are here. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly. No, like, and she's right because, like, that's why I just want to keep calling you that, Juve the Flame. Like, that's perfect. And the color purple is very prominent like in your branding as well. Like,
Yeah.
purple to me is always like royalty. It's regal. It's like it's status. I feel like, and
Mm.
specifically that shade of purple. Like I call it a royal purple. Do you feel the same way as well when you were thinking purple, or do you just like the color purple? I'm thinking too much into it.
So I think the way that the color purple shows up in my branding is probably like the alchemy part of who I am as a person. I see purple as a spiritual color, or maybe that shade of purple can be called indigo, uh,
Okay.
to maybe to symbolize the third eye chakra. And that is the chakra that you can tap into to see the future, have visions, have dreams, that kind of thing, like access higher understanding. And I feel like becoming Juve the Flame, like I was birthing a whole new side of me. And I needed that spiritual aspect that is with me, that I practice, but also the color purple in terms of fire tends to be the hottest flame, or like purple is for the mystery, or just the idea of the unknown, or a soothing calming color that just kind of surrounds you. And I resonate with a lot of that. It's also kind of intense,
Mhm.
and those things signify me. So that color purple, it kind of calls to both who I am in my regular life, who I am in my creative life, who I am when I'm in love, when I'm passionate. Um, and I think it just speaks to all sides of me.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's such a beautiful color too on like black skin as well, because you have artists like Raja O'Hara from Drag Race, like she claimed the color purple. I don't know how you feel about him, but Prince as well.
Yes.
It's the same
Yeah.
color as well. Like that shade of purple on black skin is just it's perfect.
It's
Like it's
top tier.
exactly, exactly. You've lived in a lot of different places, like as I'm realizing in your interview. Like you mentioned the Caribbean. Well, I don't know if you
Mhm.
lived in the Caribbean
I
specifically.
did.
Oh, you did at one point. Okay, there we go. Caribbean, North Carolina, New York,
Mhm.
Seattle. Like
Mhm.
I guess like from my context, since I'm a Washingtonian, like when did you make the trip here to Seattle?
Um, November 2018.
Oh, okay, so you've been here for a bit.
Yeah, I moved the following month, and I've been here for about 4.5 years consecutively.
Okay, as where's the longest you've ever stayed? I'm like, which part of the world?
The East Coast.
East Coast mostly. Okay,
Yeah,
what brought you
mostly.
over? Yeah, what brought you over to the West Coast?
I was living in North Carolina at the time, and I was just assessing my life. This was also, I had gotten sick and learned I had a chronic illness, this disease that lives with me. And I was just so angry. I was like, man, like, I am not well. I am not going to be operating at this optimal level of wellness ever again. I want to make some super drastic changes. So I spent a month trying to figure out like what would make me feel better. And what came to mind continuously is you're a big fish in a small pond. You need to leave. You need to go somewhere else. And so I chose Seattle, and that was November 2018. I was here for maybe about 5 days. I called my mom and I was like, hey, so I'm coming back in 3 days.
Mhm.
I just want to let you know I'm moving. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, haha, that's very funny.
Oh yeah.
Girl,
Exactly.
I'm out.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how I feel about Spokane. Like Spokane, I don't know if you've ever been here before, but
Mm-mm.
it's I don't really. It's not much going on. Especially for like, people of color and stuff, like just don't come here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it is. I'm a big fish in a small pond, and I feel like I've taken all the
Mhm.
resources I can in Spokane, and I'm grateful for that. So I'm ready for the next journey. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
trying to apply to jobs slowly but surely, and I have my little nest, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I just need to find the right job that will pay me enough money.
Yes, absolutely. It's so possible out here in Seattle. I think that was what made the move for me too, like more affordable. Um, I found a job here. It was within a field that I have experience in caregiving.
Mhm.
And at the time, my expenses were really low. I mean, they still kind of are because now,
Mhm.
but I was able to just make a different life for myself because I decided to prioritize my stability um, that one time, particularly.
Yeah.
But I think it's super possible. I think it's very possible. And Seattle to me is like a place that I think a lot of creatives, a lot of queers or divergent people of any definition of the word can feel seen here and find community. It'll take some time, but I think it'll happen.
Oh yeah. No, I've been working on that. Like as far as like the outreach and stuff, I've been working on that for a bit. Um,
Okay.
so tell me about like Seattle in general, because like that's you haven't moved anywhere else since then. Like what attracts you to Seattle in comparison to every place else that you've been at?
um, I think for me, it was a feeling. Um, when I came to visit Seattle, I felt well.
Mm,
Um, I'd recently had surgery, and technically, I should have been doing a whole lot less, but I was so tired of being still. So when I got to Seattle, I found um, that it felt good to be here. It felt good to breathe the fresh air. Um, it wasn't like I was socializing with people when I visited. So I had this idea of the fact that people could just exist here and it was fine. I was like, oh, I could do that here. I feel very out of place if I'm existing in little old Winston-Salem. Like, what even is that?
mhm.
Um, I also came to visit in November and the landscaping was beautiful. So I was like very slutted out for that.
Yeah.
And then once the summer came, I was like, oh yeah, great. I'm stuck.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. The Seattle summers, like beautiful. If you go to
Poor.
like go to Cal Anderson and just see all the people out there. Like that is so I'll be there in June, like for a trip.
Okay.
Yeah, so I for
Nice.
Pride and stuff. So I will get to experience that again. But
Yeah,
I just love seeing people out and like doing stuff and like everyone's being gay in Capitol Hill. It's amazing.
absolutely. Everyone's
Mhm.
being gay and playing with their props and like all their gadgets and their toys. And you're just like, yeah, do that. I just want to see
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask is because you moved there in 2018, that means your burlesque career pretty much started, or your art career pretty much started in Seattle.
Yeah, it did. It really.
Yeah. Like, what shows did you watch in Seattle that like inspire your art currently? Like, is there any specific people that you like watching, or like maybe a show that you like to go to rejuvenate that artistic side of you?
Oh yeah, definitely Fat Bottom Productions, which is led by Moxie Blue and their child Pat Smear.
Mm.
Um, they are a mom kid duo running this regular sexy show. And first of all, that is dynamic because I don't know any parent child duo that's out here doing production work for sexy people. So I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Uh,
But they're really cool. There's also Puckduction, which is another prominent production led by Mixed Pucks Plenty here in Seattle. Um, and also Ruby Mimosa's presents shows are like burlesque karaoke at Queer Bar are some of the ones that I have seen in community before I stepped out and was just like, gee, you're pretty. So yeah, those are some that come to mind immediately. But
yeah,
yeah.
I love that. And you've curated your own shows too.
Yeah, I had the opportunity of partnering with a producer in Georgia last September, and we produced a I call it a for the community by the community sensual art show. And so we had burlesque performers, we had belly dancers, there were doms in the building, we had male strippers.
Oh, nice.
We had a someone who refers to themselves as a burlesque baddie. So they would be doing singing strip teases with like chair dancing and like the works. So it was like, this is great.
Mhm.
And we also like shared the space with art vendors who were showcasing erotic or sensual art, either uplifting the female form or they had a feminist lens and or cater to the femme body.
Mhm.
So that was an awesome experience just to like even be a part of and to be brought onto that. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
my first show.
Yeah, like stepping back and doing the curating this time around, like what did you learn from that experience in comparison to like just being on the grounds like in front of the audience? Like now you have a more behind the scenes role.
Yeah, I say that it taught me how to manage several things at once.
Hmm.
Um, it it improved my people skills. I want to say my communication because I had to manage so many different people doing different things, venue spaces, venue issues, um, and then I performed too. So I was just like for a moment.
Yeah.
So I'd say it taught me how to manage and like control myself so that I can be better able to meet the needs of other people when I need to meet their needs.
Yeah, the way you just described that now, it just comes for full circle, doesn't it? Like you're a caregiver for your family at a very young age, and now you're essentially, I mean, it's a lot more into it than just caregiving specifically, but you're also curating a space for other like performers
Yeah.
to express themselves as well. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, you something that initially like. You talked about it earlier. Like it caused you so much burnout, and you
Mm-hmm.
weren't prioritizing yourself. But now you have a different lens and a different perspective on that. But you're also uplifting and curating yourself as well as other people in the same field as you are.
Yeah, I would say in the way that I am curating a space for other performers, I think it enlivens me or rejuvenates me. I'm not burning my flame at both ends, so I'm not burning out, but rather I have like little fires that I'm tending to. I'm turning this one up, I'm turning that down, or I'm putting something out. And I think I'm able to show up in a better way. But also, this excites me. So instead of me feeling absolutely distraught at the end of an event, I come home and I'm just like reliving these moments and just feeling so giddy and just feeling very lucky to have been there with these people and sharing their art with me and with others. And it's been it's been a great experience in the way that I'm approaching care and curating a space now with other people. So that
Yeah.
feels really good.
Yeah, and especially since it like you're getting something out of it, in comparison to like when you were initially like being that caregiver in the beginning of your life, like yeah, you're getting out of it for other people, like it's y- you're sharing a space to curate for others, but like you're also
Mhm.
curating for yourself, which like again, full circle moment pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Full circle.
Exactly. One thing I did want to talk about also is that you're a published model as well. Like you
Yeah.
do modeling, like you're one of the models that like people sketch out and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I've seen that. I've always wanted to do that. I think I almost had an opportunity to do that, but I got too scared. That was years ago. I was a little bit younger, but
Okay.
like we're gonna do it next time if the opportunity presents myself. But tell me
Yeah.
how you got into that. Like, how is that different than your regular burlesque stuff?
I laugh all the time when people ask me that because it's not glamorous at all.
Hmm.
I was looking for a studio space to rent to practice my burlesque acts. And I just happened to walk by the message board and I saw this tiny handwritten note that says, "Are you a dancer? Are you with this? Are you with that? Well, we're looking for you. Call this number to model."
Oh, that they're tricky.
Molly, I thought it was for clothing.
Yeah.
Nar. So when I get there and they're like, "Yeah, so if you just take all your clothes off." And I was like, "Oh, and what is the garment I'll be putting on?" They're like, "Garment? What's up with this one?" So I was like, "Okay, we're just gonna get completely naked and we're just gonna stand here for 20 minutes at a time.
Mhm.
This is where I am right now." Okay. I
Yeah.
I got some heart. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And it was one of the most like fulfilling experiences ever. I mean, I never thought of myself as someone who can like sit still, but I love the practice of being with myself and with my body and in space. And it was kind of cheeky. Like these people are like consuming me while I'm doing a thing, and they're just like, "Oh, I love the dynamicism in that pose. Look at those lines, those angles. That's fabulous." And I'm just like,
No, just sitting
yeah,
there.
yeah, just sitting there.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because apart from that, I see that I am collaborating with people who need me and want me to help them collaborate and curate this art. And that is a feeling that I don't take lightly. Um, because as much as I'm sharing my vulnerability in my nude body, this artist is sharing their vulnerability and their skill, their look, their approach to it, their approach to me, and the way that I look. So it's a very sensitive conversation, and I really, really think that is one of the most special things that I could have done with my life so far. So I'm just like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, well, like it's also so vulnerable. Like we talked about burlesque being vulnerable and like being on stage and like
yeah.
showcasing yourself in that way. Like not only are you like showcasing your new body to like a bunch of like students and stuff like that, they have to interpret what they see on a piece of paper and
Mhm.
like they're like I'm gonna draw you how I see you. And
Yeah,
like I don't know, like I feel like that's so like there's something about that that makes me so like nervous because it's just
yeah,
like like what if you draw me as an ugly little bitch, or something like that. Like like with the artistic skill, like what if it's just a stick figure or something like that of me or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Like do you often like have you gotten over that fear? Like was that in you at first of like someone's trying is going to try to interpret me in a different way than you you normally would experience.
Oh, absolutely. I think the difference in like burlesque and art modeling is with burlesque, you're moving. So you may like hold a pose for like maybe a second or two, up to 5 seconds max. And then you're like trolloping on to remove the next thing or like drop into a split from some high, ridiculous place.
Mm,
And with art modeling, you are still in static the entire time. And so that is the most vulnerable because you can think of all of the things with your body that you have not yet made peace with that someone else is viewing for consumption and interpretation.
mhm,
And I think the trust comes in to know that this person is is someone you can trust in the way that they are practicing their skills. And so it may not be perfect today, it may not ever be perfect, but the desire is not to harm you or make you feel like this unrecognizable blob of whatever with whatever, but they see you as a body, as a human, as a person, and um the contributions that you are making with your vulnerability and your nudity goes towards their education and their progress and their growth as a person and an artist. And I think when I began to think that way, I found myself holding more still and just taking deeper, even breaths to calm my body because I think that's like the highest form of trust. Like
mhm.
you may not have it yet, I may not have it, but right now we're working together to create this.
Wow.
And so yeah, one of my favorite relationships, my favorite working relationships is with the artist that I've posed for. It's just like, wow, you did that. We did that. That's awesome. Look at it
Yeah,
go.
exactly. Yeah. How often do you do publish model like modeling?
Um, I'd say pretty often. I have a couple of gigs a month where I'm modeling for either a private group, um, or I'm modeling for an atelier or an art collaborative. So yeah, I try to keep some time available for that per
Yeah.
month.
Has there ever been a drawing of you that like moved you?
You know, there's a couple.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, and it's a cute gesture when you're posing for artists and they go, "Wow, would you like any of these? Like, this is just for fun, or this is just for practice. This is going to stay in my sketchbook. Would you like this?" And you're like, "Oh my God, yes, I would."
Hmm.
Because it's like their signature, their creative signature is just like out of their hands now. And they're like, "Oh, here, it's yours." And I have a couple of pieces from artists that I've worked with or I've posed for, and they've given me some of their work, whether it's like a 10-minute pose or a 15-minute pose. And it's like not quite finished, but you're like, yo, this is so dope. This is
Hmm.
ridiculously dope. So I put it up on my wall in my little studio so
Hmm.
that I can just look at it.
Yeah. Have you learned anything about yourself when you look at those sketches and like how people interpret you?
Yeah, I do. I see a lot more confidence than before. Um, Before I became Jue Jones, I wasn't very confident with my body. Like even in pictures, I would just like
Mm.
hide or something. But when I look at the poses I've done, it's like full on take me in. I dare you. And I just get so tickled when I see that because it's like, man, I would never do that.
Yeah.
I did not do that until recently. So
Hmm.
it's a proud moment for me, and I'm grateful that the artists interpret that, and that's what's reflected back to me if they ever hand me something that they worked on.
Oh yeah. That sounds so cool. Now you make me want to do it, like for
You
sure.
should totally do it.
If
You
I
should totally
see
do it.
if I see an ad for it, I'm gonna do it. Like
You
I'm
should do
actually
it.
absolutely. Well, we are coming up to the end. This has been such a lovely conversation so far. I do have one more big topic question. It's
Okay.
more of a stereotypical, I guess, question, like an interview question. because it's been 5 years since you've been doing all of your art, whether it's
Mhm.
been, burlesque, published modeling, being a curator, like 5 years of doing anything. Like I always say, like doing anything consistently, like for 5 years straight or even 10 years straight, crazy to me, crazy. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would like to share some of the things that I've learned, both in my lived experience and my time working as a professional, um, and a burlesque artist or creative in general. I feel like the things I've learned make for a very interesting conversation, um, especially in personal development. So I would love to talk with folks about that, share what I know. Um, yeah, I'd like to create spaces for people to be more informed about these art forms, about using kink as therapy,
Mhm.
one way to have therapy, um, making your life suit you, and just being unapologetic about things. So I would love to garner more speaking engagements about the things.
Yeah, well, you should do a podcast because you did mention that. Like, how do you feel about doing a podcast now?
This was an awesome experience. It was so chill, and
Hmm.
this felt like just a catch-up phone call with a long distance friend. So
Exactly.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I think like you have more stories to tell. You should like do that. I know one of the things we haven't touched on yet is like you're an author too. So like I feel like you should write more books or write a blog or something, like you've got like such an I don't want to say like eloquent way of speaking, but like you have such a perspective on like not just like with your life but like the way you see art and stuff like that. I think more people should learn about that and you should share that more.
Thank you. I received that.
Yeah, so like get onto the podcast thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm sure you know a
Yeah.
lot of cool people. Like what kind of podcast would you want to do?
Um, so I would like to do a tiny bit of chaotic, like fun. I'd
Hmm.
like to be in a car or doing something kind of casual and having these like real conversations with people, or I don't know, be somewhere like in nature, randomly nude, or
Oh,
that's
yeah.
something I've always thought of, like having business meetings in the nude. So why not just pull up to this place where we can be nude and be public and just, so tell me about like your infrastructure of your business. And someone's like, yeah, this, that, and the
Mhm.
third. And like everything, bits and bobbles are just out, just having a
Yeah.
conversation.
I
And
would I'd be on that. Like if you ever curate that, like do it.
hell
Like
yeah.
I don't know where we could put it on like social media, probably like OnlyFans or
Yeah.
something like that. But I would totally be down to do something like that.
Sick. Okay, so
Hit
great.
me
You'll
up.
be definitely one of my very first guests.
I love that. The one thing I love about doing podcasting is when I'm not the host. It's like when I
Yeah.
get to talk and like I don't have to like curate something, like someone else is doing the curating and I just get to
Yeah.
talk. Like that's the best part.
Yeah. Love that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, we're here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you need to share more of like your story because like I think um like everything you just talked about is like amazing. Hopefully you get to have that platform. Hopefully you get to like do have you curated a show in Seattle yet?
I have not been successful with that yet, but I've got my fingers crossed on some reputable venues that I'd like to try this year. So be on the lookout. And
Yeah.
I like booking burlesque and drag and other things because I like variety. So
Hmm. And they yeah, and then both of those two things really go together so
yeah,
well.
they do.
Hmm.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly. Well, Juve, thank you so much for being on the show. Like
Thank
this
you
was
for
such an
having
amazing.
me.
Absolutely. Tell the people, my wayward artists out there, where they can find you
Uh,
online.
you can find me online at Juve_Jones on Instagram. And yeah, that's my favorite platform right now. So that's probably the better place to find me.
Okay. And then if you're in the Seattle area, where do you typically perform? I would not probably advertise something that's like coming up in June or something, because this episode
Okay.
will probably be a bit.
Okay.
I'm a little
Yeah.
slow to the uploading game, but
Yeah.
where do you normally perform at?
Um, ooh, right now I am prioritizing performing in other states. I'm
Okay.
on building community outside of Seattle, within Seattle and outside. Um, so yeah, around town in Seattle. I also work as a production manager. So you may see me behind stages or
Okay.
doing little things on the floor, but not always performing here in Seattle. And then sometimes I do. But yeah, I'm just around.
All right. Well, awesome. Hopefully we get to catch you like
Yeah.
wherever you are
Yeah.
in the country and in the world.
Yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed
Uh,
it so much.
This was so good. Thank you so much for applying to be on the
Thank
show. Like, yeah, I
you.
really appreciate it. And Wayward Artist, thank you so much for watching the Rewind with Jue Vé the Flame. You can watch more exciting episodes of the Rewind on YouTube and podcast services everywhere. It's Wayward World Studios, wherever you get your shows. I'm Thumali. That's Thumali. Have been your host. Please follow me on Instagram. That's Thumali714 on Instagram. We're on TikTok also if you want to watch the after show. The fast forward. So TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts will have the after show with Jue Vé where we get to ask her 5 questions. The fast questions. They're not that fast actually, but uh, Wear It Artists, without further ado, it's been real.